Each year, more than 400 million tons of paper are consumed worldwide. Around 15 trees are needed to produce 1 ton of paper. Production reaches 55,000 sheets per minute to meet this great demand. Enormous harvesters gather tons of wood. But how does wood become paper? We visited a paper mill to discover how paper is made from trees. It is believed that paper was invented in China during the Han Dynasty around the 2nd century BC. The invention of the paper machine allowed mass production. In the mid-19th century, chemical methods for bleaching pulp were introduced, which improved paper quality. The paper industry is one of the largest in the world. Millions of tons of paper are produced each year to meet global demand. Mainly, wood pulp, extracted from cellulose found in trees, is used to make paper. The wood used in cellulose production comes from forest plantations of fast-growing species. Cellulose is a natural fiber found in the cell walls of plants and is particularly abundant in wood. Eucalyptus trees are widely used, especially in tropical and subtropical regions. They have a high cellulose content in their wood and grow quickly, making them an efficient option. A tree like this provides oxygen for 3 people to breathe each day. Some varieties of eucalyptus can be harvested in 10 to 15 years. The paper-making process begins with tree felling in the forests. Trees selected for harvest are chosen carefully, considering their age, size, and health. Selection may be based on a selective logging approach, where only mature and ready-to-harvest trees are cut. Selected trees are felled in a controlled manner. This process is carried out using a 25-ton forest harvester. The cutting head grips a tree with a lathe-like device, and a saw just under 1 meter in size cuts the trunk. The felled tree passes through the head, where 4 blades cut off its branches and the saw cuts it into more manageable pieces. It takes just 40 seconds to turn a tall tree into a pile of wood chunks. The wood is loaded onto trucks and transported to the pulp and paper mill. After harvesting, reforestation is carried out to ensure the renewal of forest resources. This involves planting new trees to replace those harvested, contributing to the sustainability of the wood supply for paper production. The paper-making process begins with the arrival of the wood. Each day, more than 200 trucks loaded with hundreds of logs arrive at the paper mill. The wood logs are unloaded in the designated area. The machine's clamp can lift 25 tons of logs at once. With a single log, at least 15 packs of copier paper are made. Paper is made from a pulp that contains 65% eucalyptus, 25% birch, and 10% poplar. To produce 1 ton of paper pulp, 2 tons of wood are needed. First, the cellulose must be extracted, but bark is rich in tannins and other unwanted chemicals, so the logs must be debarked. This process takes place in a debarker that removes the bark from the logs. The logs are placed in this enormous debarking drum. Inside, they collide with each other and against the walls, and the contact removes the bark. It is a process that lasts 20 minutes. The bark will be burned to produce the steam needed to make the paper. The peeled logs exit from the other end onto a conveyor belt that carries them to a cutter that first cuts them and then reduces them to chips. The largest source of wood chips for papermaking comes from recycled sawmill scraps. The chips are stored temporarily before entering the cooking process. This storage allows a continuous flow of raw material throughout the manufacturing process. These 5 piles contain a total of 30,000 tons of wood. The next step is to turn those wood chunks into pulp. The wood chips are transported to the pulp mill on a conveyor belt. Upon entering the pulp mill, the wood chips are introduced into a digester where they are cooked in an acidic solution to dissolve the linen and separate the plant fibers. The necessary chemicals for the wood cooking process are prepared and will be used in the digestion stage to separate the linen from the cellulose fibers. During this step, the linen dissolves, releasing the cellulose fibers and creating a mixture called pulp. This enormous cylinder is the digester where the wood is cooked for several hours at a temperature of 158 degrees Celsius. Pulp is the key raw material for papermaking and will undergo additional processes to turn it into paper sheets. Once cooked, the brown pulp exits the digester and is sent to the thickener. With this spatula, the quality of the brown pulp is modified. The obtained pulp may contain impurities and remnants of linen. At this stage, an additional cleaning and defibration are performed to separate the cellulose fibers and remove any unwanted material. The fibers are washed to remove the acidic solution, and the pulp is now soft and fibrous. Next, it needs to be bleached before it can be used to make white paper. The pulp is bleached and filtered to remove any remaining linen that would cause the paper to yellow over time. To protect the environment, this bleaching is chlorine-free, using oxygen and peroxide. The wood chips that entered the pulp mill have now been turned into a soft, white pulp, the main raw ingredient for making paper. The prepared pulp is taken to the paper machine, where the paper sheet formation process begins. The paper machine consists of a series of sections and screens, and the pulp is poured onto a continuous mesh, allowing the water to drain and the fibers to interlock to form the sheet. The water is extracted with this equipment, which operates at a speed of 1,060 meters per minute. After the initial formation, the paper sheet passes through pressing sections where some of the water is removed. Next, the sheet passes through heated cylinders that apply pressure and heat to complete the drying process. This process reduces the water content and provides strength to the sheet. Between the input and output, the water concentration in the pulp drops from 95% to 5%. Subsequently, it passes through a calendaring stage, where the paper sheet passes between hot rollers that smooth and improve the uniformity of the paper's surface. Next, technicians check the paper's quality parameters and note any anomalies. Throughout the process, quality controls are performed to ensure the paper meets the desired standards. The weight, strength, and smoothness are inspected. Then, the paper is rolled. The now dry and formed paper sheet is rewound into large rolls. These rolls can be cut into smaller sheets according to customer requirements. With this transfer crane, a full roll is changed for an empty one. A roll weighs more than 35 tons and contains 60 kilometers of paper. Some will be delivered as is, while others will go through the paper cutters. The rolls are sent to the automated warehouse. The rolls that will be cut later are stored in the warehouse. Robots guided by rails in the floor feed the paper cutter. This one produces copier paper. The robots are controlled from a central computer operated by technicians. Then the paper is cut into standard size sheets or smaller rolls, ready for distribution. Production reaches 55,000 sheets per minute. 4 automatic receivers and operators check the paper quality before packaging. The finished paper is packaged according to customer specifications and stored for shipment. In just 1 hour, 6,600 packs of printing paper are produced. If you want to know how Doritos are made, watch the video on your screen, and please like the video if you enjoyed it and share it with someone who might be interested. Also, subscribe to this channel by activating the notifications to continue learning. Thanks for watching.